Although they were probably nicer to her because they're Canadian.
That's true.
This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Cannata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. We talk a lot, Jeff, about blue zones. You know the blue zones?
That's right. The places where folks are living longer, right?
That's right. The blue zones. There's even been a Netflix documentary at this point about the blue zones.
Yeah.
About how just there are these places on Earth, Jeff, where
magical places
where we don't know what it is. We're studying it, man. We're figuring it out. But is it the Mediterranean diet? Is it the Okinawa diet? Is it the fact that they garden and it's physical activity?
Naps? Is it naps?
Is it naps? What is it, Jeff, about these blue zones? They're so blue.
They're so blue.
They're so blue.
Zones.
And they're living, and they don't just have centenarians, Jeff. They have super centenarians.
It's like they were bitten by a radioactive centenarian.
That's right. That's right. It's like if Peter Parker was bitten by Aunt May instead.
He would be Aunt May Man.
That's right. He'd be Mayman. So we've been looking at super centenarians are not just people that live to 100, Jeff. We're talking about 110, 115 years old.
And they're still like doing Pilates.
Yeah, they're not even
living it up.
They are not even injecting themselves with their son's blood. Which is how we do it over here in America.
That's called the red zone.
That's the red zone. You got to be a billionaire to live in it. You're sitting under red lights all day. You're taking the red blood cells from your children. Right. That's the red zone.
That's how we do it in America. It costs you. There's like 3 people who can afford it.
That's right. And they're all nightmares.
They are real horror shows.
And they always, whenever they show up, they eat sludge. They eat $1,000 a day nutritional sludge. And whenever you
mumble about crypto.
That's right. And every time you meet them, they say like, "Hey, listen, I'm 45, but I only look 41."
Yeah.
That's because
they talk a lot about the youthful appearance of their penis.
That's right. That's right. It's very like that's the thing is they seem mostly focused on that. It's mostly that one, which is really weird to me. It's like you're not worried about like your face or your hairline. It's like, nah, man. I
gotta have a healthy childlike penis.
That's right. I gotta have a silky smooth penis. I wear
without a hint of gray.
Yeah. It's like I wear basically I basically wear a sports bra for my balls.
That's right.
That's what they do. Listen,
I have a team of doctors measuring my erections.
That's right. And that's why
frequency and intensity.
And that's why we're so interested in the blue zones, because we don't want to be creeps.
Well, most of us don't want.
Most of us don't. Other than the 3 people there, most of us don't want to be creeps. We're like, is there a way that we can live for a really long time without being phallus obsessed creeps?
Right.
And is it the fact that they eat more cabbage? Is it the fact that they drink a glass of red wine every day? What is it?
We will try anything.
We will try anything except for a proven healthy diet, exercise and
nutrition.
And sleeping. Fuck you, sleeping?
Work-life balance? Fuck that.
Get wrecked. I'm going to work 70 hours a week and eat 18 hot dogs. Why am I dying?
I don't understand it. What's going on in these blue zones?
What is happening in the blues? Is it hummus? I'll put hummus on the hot dog.
That's right.
Why am I eating so many hot dogs? Am I phallus obsessed? Well, we've been looking into this for years. And I mean, there have been so many books about this, Jeff. There's been the Mediterranean diet, the Okinawa diet, obviously the Blue Zones book and documentary. Like Netflix did a whole documentary series on these blue zones.
Right.
Jeff, we finally cracked the case.
Oh, thank God.
We've cracked the case, buddy. Dr. Saul Newman, over in Australia at Australian National University in Canberra,
I feel
Um,
like that's a blue zone right there.
it's a blue zone, baby. That's because of the surfing.
Yeah. It's crystal blue is what
Oh,
that is.
baby. And there are sharks in the water and spiders on the beach. And that's the thing is you can live forever in Australia because you have built up such an immunity to various venoms and poisons.
That's the cruelest joke of Australia is that as you flee from the invasive spiders into the sea, there's more death waiting for you.
That's
right
all
there.
it is. That's all it is. You get into
You thought you were safe. You thought you had a place to go. Nope, you were wrong.
No, you got nothing. You got nothing. But Saul Newman was he's a postdoctoral researcher at the time. This was about 5 years ago. And he was like, man, I really do want to figure out what's going on in these blue zones.
Yeah.
And so he started looking.
I don't want to die.
Yeah, no, none of us want to die. So, listen, a lot of people, particularly as you get older, as they get older, whatever, they're going to tell you they've made their peace. They have not. No one has made their peace with death. I don't believe it.
Right.
I simply don't.
I agree.
Sorry.
No, you're lying.
Sorry. It was my birthday last week, and my mom called me for my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Well, thank you. My mom called me for my birthday, and she was like, listen, your aunt and I were talking about it, and we are not comfortable with how old you are. And I was like,
yeah, that's fair.
I was like, baby, join the club.
Yeah.
Someone, and I was like, she's like, yeah, you're not young anymore. I was like, no, some would say that I'm about halfway there. And when I said that, the look in her eyes,
yeah,
as somebody, because my mom was not a super young mom.
Yeah.
The look in her eyes, I saw it for a split second. I was like, oh, we don't joke about this. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
God, I don't think anybody's really 100% made their peace with it. So none of us want to die, particularly Dr. Saul Newman. And so he's like, listen, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to look into this. And he figured this shit out. And you know what it is?
Broke the blue zones wide open. What's the deal?
The commonality between the blue zones, Jeff? Poor record keeping.
Poor record keeping.
Poor record keeping, Jeff. All of these places with super centenarians, shoddy record keeping of vital statistics like births and deaths.
It's a statistical error.
When you think about the places that have these really intense blue zones, you're talking about Okinawa in Japan. Hey, something happened in Japan that fucked up their records. Do you remember what it was?
I mean, I have an inkling. Is it that they got the hummus all over the paperwork?
That's what it is, Jeff. Japan, famously known for their hummus. And you talk about Greece, you talk about Italy, you talk about France, you talk about these places.
Yeah.
These are, let me tell you something, as somebody who's been attempting to get dual citizenship in Italy, they don't have any paperwork.
They don't keep that.
They don't have any paperwork. When you're talking about Italian paperwork from 100 years ago, Jeff, you're literally talking about not City Hall. You're talking about local churches.
Right. Yeah.
You're talking about local churches kept the vital statistics.
Yeah.
These are not official record keeping, like bureaucratic area. They're simply not. These are people, Jeff, who are either lying or simply confused about how old they are.
So he's literally saying there's no blue zones?
There's no blue zones, dude. There's no blue zones. He looked into it and he found out that when America really like centralized their records, when we started doing like really good demographic studies, we started keeping like social security cards, all this stuff, birth and death records, our number of super centenarians went down by 70%. There's a reason America is in a blue zone.
We convinced Grandpa what the real date was.
That's right. Grandpa's no longer confused. Grandpa has paperwork that tells him how old he is.
So you're saying that blue zones was a state of mind?
Blue zones was a state of mind, baby. He is saying that some of the, hey, listen. He is saying
the real blue zone was the friends we made along the way.
He is saying there's a third thing. Okay. So I don't want to just throw it all to these two. A third reason for these super centenarians, Jeff, is benefits fraud.
Oh, isn't this just so perfect?
Isn't this hilarious?
It's so.
Isn't this hilarious? Now, it's made a lot of headlines, Jeff, but here's something interesting about Dr. Newman's paper. It has not been published and has not been peer-reviewed because...
It's a fucking bummer? Is that why?
Yeah, well, sort of. Yes, it's a bummer for all the people who have gotten a lot of grants and have been doing a lot of research and have written a lot of books about super centenarians and the blue zones. So he can't get anybody to peer review his paper. He can't get anybody in the field of aging, which is where he works. He works at Oxford University's Institute of Population Aging. He says, my paper has been spectacularly ignored.
Yeah, I don't want to know about it either. I mean, I'm kind of hoping we can ignore it pretty quick because this whole thing is a massive bummer. I thought if I had the hummus and I drank the wine once a day, and
we all thought that there was an entire, just one, not even all of Japan, just one island in Japan.
That's right. We need
one island in Japan where everybody's sitting around 115 years old gardening.
Yeah. Just having a blast, just loving it.
Everybody's great-great-great-grandpa partying on the beach.
I need hope, Anthony. I need to have a little island of hope that exists.
I think that's what Okinawa means.
Yeah, little island of hope.
That's what it means. Yeah, so everybody else has been pretty bummed out about his paper, Jeff, except for one group of people. Do you know who was not bummed out about this man's paper, Jeff?
The septuagenarians?
The Ig Nobel Prize Committee.
Yes!
Surprise, Jeff. It's our annual Ig Nobel Prize episode.
Oh, you got us there sideways.
Surprise, Jeff. Surprise, baby.
Doing that work that nobody else is willing to do.
That's
the Ig
right.
Nobel Prizers.
That's right. The Ig Nobel Prizes are given out for science that celebrates the unusual, honors the imaginative, and spurs people interest in science, medicine, and technology by making people laugh, then think.
We love the Ig Nobel Prize. We have helped call attention to it and celebrate it for many years now. It feels like we have a certain kinship to the Ig Nobel Prize.
And yet we've never been invited.
I don't really understand that part.
Seems weird. I mean, I know
does.
it's a place that's for I know it's for scientists and researchers and things like that, but
do they know we're award-winning scientists?
I don't think they do. I don't even think they know that I'm a lawyer.
Right. Or a former doctor.
There's a lot that they don't know, I think. Folks, I'd like to take you through some of the top winners of the Ig Nobel Prize this year.
This is the 2024 Ig Nobel Prize recipients.
These are the recipients, baby.
Oh, we love them.
These are the recipients.
That work.
Now, the Ig Nobel Prize for Peace, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's a big one. That's important.
Yeah.
The Ig Nobel Prize for Peace was given posthumously to B.F. Skinner, inventor of the Skinner box.
Okay.
For another experiment that he did. That's right. He was for inventing steamed hams. There was a 1960 paper that B.F. Skinner wrote about the feasibility of using. Never mind. The feasibility of using. Oh my God! I'm going to do it again. The feasibility.
You got that. You got this. Do it.
Of using pigeons to guide missiles in the air.
Do it. Follow the pigeon.
You follow the pigeon, baby. You follow the pigeon. I got a picture here for you, Jeff.
I want to see that picture.
There's just a pigeon in the nose cone of a missile.
Okay.
So basically, the deal is, they wanted to train pigeons to serve as the guidance systems for missiles.
So we could bomb breadcrumbs?
That's right. That's right. We go through once and we drop a bunch of breadcrumbs out of a plane.
Yeah.
And then we go through again with the second plane. Basically,
another old lady on a bench was bombed today.
So basically the way missiles worked in the 1940s was the missiles were actually called Pelican missiles. And the reason they were called Pelican missiles is because the machinery required to guide them was so bulky, there wasn't much room left for actual explosives. So
we can get it there. So do not worry about that. We're going to get it there.
We're going to get it there. And so Skinner was like, what if we put Pidgeys into the guidance systems?
Yeah, baby.
And he dismissed the ethical questions about this as a peacetime luxury.
You don't get to, we can't quibble about the lives of pigeons.
We're sending our young men to die, and you want to know if we should save this pigeon? Come on.
These are rats of the sky.
What he would do is he would harness the pigeons into the missiles.
Yeah.
They were positioned vertically above a translucent plastic plate, and they were trained to peck at the projected image of a target.
Oh my God.
It was essentially like a camera obscura effect.
Sure it was.
And the guidance signal was picked up from the point of contact between screen and beak. It was basically like pigeons using their beak as a stylus on a DS.
Yeah. Yeah. What could go wrong?
He was like, listen, there was a great deal of skepticism about using the pigeons.
Yeah.
And he was like, look, it's cheaper than the electronics. It is resistant to jamming. How are you going to jam a pigeon? You can't send a radio signal that jams a pigeon.
No, you can't. We can't crack a pigeon's code.
You don't need any wartime materials that are scarce.
Right.
You know? And like you could start this. It's so simple. All we need to do is build pigeon harnesses into these missiles. It's way easier than the guidance systems. We could have these out there in 30 days.
I just happen to have this pigeon harness company that I founded.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the committee that was approving all of these weapons ideas nixed the project, and Skinner said he was left with a loft full of curiously useless equipment and a few dozen pigeons with a strange interest in a feature of the New Jersey coast, which is where his test target was set up.
This summer, Pixar invites you on an incredible journey.
I don't think I'm ever going to do anything important now, son. Every pigeon has a place. It's built into our hearts, and we can find it no matter where we are.
Every pigeon has a goal. Some to love, some to fly, others to bomb the shit out of New Jersey. This summer, the whole family is invited to Pigeon Bomb.
Now, Skinner did say that the sample pigeon behaved perfectly, but the spectacle of a living pigeon carrying out its assignment, no matter how beautifully, simply reminded the committee of how utterly fantastic our proposal was. He said that he sensed
like fantastic or like fantastic?
Well, he said he sensed in the room a lot of restrained merriment.
Well, that's probably because they gave the pigeon the little helmet, and the little goggles, the tiny little goggles.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's really where the most of the merriment came from.
That's the trick. That's the trick. Is I appreciated that he was giving the attention to detail and theme, but like once the pigeon is in the missile, you're not going to see the little costume.
I don't know, but right before he goes in, the fact that he trained the pigeon to give the little salute with its
That's
wing.
the thing. It's all a little too cute. It's all a little too cute. Like I think he should have just gone in there plain pigeon.
You think?
Yeah, I think that would have
I
helped.
appreciate the pomp and circumstance.
I do too, but I think it may have undercut the seriousness of what he was doing. I'd like to tell you about the Ig Nobel Prize winner for anatomy, Jeff.
Ooh.
This was a huge team. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 researchers cited on this paper.
My gosh.
Those are just the researchers, but that, this is big deal research here.
Okay.
What would you guess? This is anatomy. It's a team of 10 researchers, Jeff. Big team.
Is it something about gut health?
Oh, gut health is a big guess. That's a big area of research. No, Jeff.
Yeah.
This is
that would fall under anatomy, but
this is about the swirl in the back of your head. The swirl of hair in the back of your head?
Sure. What's going on with that? Can we get our top people on that, please?
We got 10 of them on it, Jeff, and they were trying to figure out whether the swirl of hair on the back of your head swirls in the same direction if you're in the north or south hemisphere.
Yeah, like a toilet.
Like a toilet
on my head. You know why we call them our top people, Anthony?
Why?
Because they're working on the top.
That's right. That's also why why the bullies call those swirlies.
Yeah, right.
Now I know.
So the operating theory was that if you're born on one side of the planet, you got a different swirly head than if you're born on another side of the planet. This is what we're testing.
That's what we're testing, Jeff.
This is more people added to this team.
Yeah. So this is nature versus nurture. Okay. Hereditary traits.
I've taught my kids to have their hair swirl in one direction.
That's right. That's right. For family values.
That's right.
If my hair swirled like counterclockwise, no son of mine.
That's right.
Your hair is going to swirl clockwise, and you're going to play football.
We are a clockwise family, and always have been.
That's right.
My father was clockwise. His father was bald as hell, but mostly clockwise.
But I'm sure at some point in his life. So look, the deal is they took hair whirls in children from 3 different groups. Northern Hemisphere general population in Paris, France.
Love this.
Southern Hemisphere general population in Santiago, Chile.
Oh, these 10 people got to travel the world for this.
I have a feeling it was a school in Paris and a school in Chile.
All right.
This
is a phone call.
Probably emailing each other, yeah. And then 74 same-sex twins born in Paris. And the results were twins had hair whorls that rotated in the same direction. Okay? So that means that's genetic, right? That's nature, right?
Yeah.
But the researchers found that hair whorls in children from the southern hemisphere
hair whorls
were counterclockwise more frequently than children in the northern hemisphere.
Oh, just more frequently.
More
so
frequently.
It's not a given.
More frequently, though the team could not rule out genetic effects from specific population characteristics.
Nothing. We have come to no conclusions, is what this report says.
Look,
we can't determine anything. It happened. We counted a few more of them, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But look.
This is beautiful.
Hey.
Beautiful.
We didn't know until we gave it a shot, Jeff. Remember, the goal is not to prove one thing when you make a paper. The goal is to find something out.
That's right. No, you're right. It was science, baby.
Yeah, there's no winning or losing here. Although it does feel like a bit of a loss this time. I don't know why, but it does. Does feel sort of like a little bit of a loss.
Somebody lost some grant money. I'll tell you that.
No, they spent it. It wasn't lost. They know exactly where it went.
They know exactly. It's right there in Parisian flights.
That's right. So that is your Ig Nobel Prize
Mwah. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I want to talk about one of the bigger ones here, Jeff.
Okay.
This one was pretty huge. This one, is this medicine? Let me check and see here. This is physiology.
Okay.
This is the Nobel Prize in Physiology. This is also a big team. This is a 10-person team as well. Team from Japan that found out some potentially extremely life-saving information.
Ooh.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. No, I love saving lives.
Now, one of the things that you may remember during COVID-19 was we had a severe lack of ventilators and artificial lungs.
Yes.
People were unable to, people were dying because we were trying to get ventilators out to different areas and make sure that people could breathe.
Right.
But Jeff, what this team from Japan asks is, what if they could breathe through their butts?
Okay.
Jeff.
And what do we find?
They did find that a lot of mammals, Jeff, can breathe through their butts.
What?
Yeah. So
which ones?
So here's what's up. Ryo Okabe, who was the lead researcher on this, was thinking about, what do we do to prevent respiratory failure here when there's such a shortage of these expensive machines? Respirators are very expensive machines.
Yeah.
The team took Okabe and his team took their inspiration from the loach. This is a fish, not a mammal. This is a freshwater, bottom-dwelling fish in Eurasia and Africa. And the loach, along with sea cucumbers, they employ intestinal breathing through the anus instead of gills to survive under hypoxic conditions, right? So like the water is, they're bottom feeders, the water's dirty, there's a high concentration of mud to actual water. That's okay. There's a huge number of capillaries in the anus. And so they will breathe through their anus. Now, they decided to test this on a bunch of animals.
The unhappiest of animals.
Mice, of course.
Oh, yeah.
The Ig Nobel Prize, I think, should do an in memoriam every year.
That would be brilliant.
For just mice.
It just lasts
just thousands of mice.
Just lasts 3.5 hours. It's one mouse portrait per second.
That's right.
3.5 hours.
And it plays Sarah McLachlan sped up 400%. In the arms of the angels, fly away from here. In the arms of the angels. So what they basically did was they took these mice and these micro pigs and they intraanally administered oxygen gas or a liquid oxygenated perfluorocarbon.
Like blew it up their ass.
Yeah, but they used the liquid oxygen like in the abyss, like James Cameron.
Yeah.
You remember when they put the mouse in the tank?
That famous scene where Ed Harris breathes through his asshole.
That's right. They gave the animals oxygen enemas. And then they induced, of course, respiratory failure.
Yeah.
Like they have to.
Sure.
And it turns out, yeah, man.
You can do it. Can be done.
It can be done.
You just gotta wanna. You gotta want it enough.
Those mice and those pigs were breathing through their butts. with no major complications, they say.
Wow.
Which I find fascinating because what is it?
Find major complications because
also what is it? I would imagine that the animals are or in a person at the very least, this person would be in some sort of in
discomfort.
I would imagine they would be like knocked out. They would be under some sort of anesthetic or something where they would not be conscious for this. Because what what does it feel like to not be able to breathe through your lung, right? Like you're trying to gasp for air, but also you're not asphyxiating. Like you feel like you are, but you're breathing just fine because they're blowing a fan into your butt. So it's a dual feeling of like, right? But then also, and like you're technically fine, but you must be the most miserable you've ever been or will ever be. Because
it's not a good day.
No, it's the feeling. It's the feeling of not being able to breathe, while at the same time, the feeling of somebody with a leaf blower up your ass. And you're gonna live. That's actually, I think Dante put that in the fourth circle.
That does feel like a real devil's delight right there.
Yeah, that's not.
I kind of don't understand the physiology of it because does my butt connect to my lung? How does that? How does that?
So it turns out that that we do have, I guess, a high number of capillary vessels in the intestine.
It's just about getting oxygen into the blood.
It's about oxygenating the bloodstream.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's called enteral ventilation via anus, EVA.
EVA.
Yeah, which it just makes me think of it makes me think of Evangelion. It makes me think of just inserting little pilots into your ass.
Yeah.
to keep the machinery moving.
You know how there's that thing where, you know, if you're choking and you can't breathe and you can do the whole pen thing, you stab the throat and you breathe, force somebody into their throat until people arrive, you know.
It's like it's definitely, it feels a lot like that. But I guess
you could do that, but with their butthole.
I don't think shoving a pen into their butt.
Lips right up there and just like you're inflating a balloon.
Yeah, that would probably work. I'd probably just give traditional CPR at that point. You know?
Wait, no, I'm saving your life. This damn belt is too tight. I'm saving your life.
We thank these researchers for their service, obviously.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Here's another one that I think is wildly good. This is the Ig Nobel Prize in probability.
Ooh.
Now, I find this incredibly fascinating. Jeff, what is the time-honored tradition? What is the way across sports, across achievements, across anything to decide who goes first?
Well, you do the Rochambeau.
You can do a Rochambeau for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the more time-honored tradition, usually like in professional sports and things,
flip a coin.
The coin flip.
Sure.
The coin flip. And the idea of the coin flip is, baby, it's 50-50.
That's right.
No heads or tails bias.
That's right. It's as fair as we can make it.
It's nature's perfect decider.
That's right.
Except in 2007, a Stanford statistician named Percy Diaconis proposed that
Rosencrantz Guildenstern.
That's right. He proposed that the act of flipping a coin actually introduces a small wobble, Jeff, an imperfection. A change in the
cosmic wobble?
A cosmic wobble that changes the direction of the axis of rotation throughout the coin's trajectory that causes a coin to spend more time in the air with the initial side facing up. So
you're slightly more likely to get whatever it is you started with than anything else.
According to Percy, there should be a 51% chance
that
the coin lands on the same side as it started. Now, there have been a lot of coin flipping experiments, and this team that did this most recent experiment to test Diaconis's theory flipped a coin 350,757 times.
Wow.
By 48 people, all recorded on video.
Just riveting video to watch.
I honestly, if it was relaxing coin flips, 10 hours, no thunders on YouTube, I'd put it on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just coin flips.
Yeah, coin flips, 232 kilohertz sound.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I'd probably do it. Now, there was a 2009 experiment to test Diaconis's theory too, where they flipped the coin 40,000 times, and their results were ambiguous. Now, remember, we're only looking for 51%.
Yeah.
So the more coin flips you do, the less of a margin of error there is. So these 350,757 coin flips by 48 different people, this is the highest number that anybody has ever used to test the coin flip. And Jeff, there's a 51% same side bias when you flip a coin.
Wow.
There's no heads or tails bias. There's
just whatever you started with.
They tried different coins. It's like, hey, different coins are printed different ways. Maybe on one coin, the side that's heads has more mass or something like that. Right. There's no heads tails bias. They didn't find any trace of that. They did acknowledge that the effort to require this appears to be excessive. The effort required to test this is a little excessive because they want to continue a test. They're like, okay, they want to determine whether wobble tossers have a pronounced same side bias more than stable tossers. And in order to do that. By the way,
when I'm angry at my sports team for having lost the coin flip and in overtime, and I'm angry that they're going to lose the game.
Yeah.
I refer to them as wobble tossers.
You can't say that in the UK because it means something different. You can't say it. It's like how fanny means butt over here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what they wanted to do was figure out a way for stable tossing and wobble tossing and see if there really is a way if the wobble is what's doing it, or if there is just a natural same side bias due to something else physically.
Interesting.
Right?
So
like
if we could correct for the wobble.
Right. It would involve some sort of like probably apparatus.
Yes.
That you would have to build that would flip the coin exactly the same way with no wobble each time.
Right.
And that way we could see whether there really is a wobble that's being introduced by some sort of imperfection, or if there's something else that's causing this 51% sidedness bias.
Did they invent the perfect coin flipper?
Yeah, they said they're not going to do it.
What?
Well, they said like, look, it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna involve a detailed analysis of high-speed camera recordings for individual flips.
Oh, that does sound hard.
And you know,
I didn't know it was going to be hard. I wouldn't want any science to be difficult.
No, like it's and like if you're going to do it for 400,000 times again, and then somebody has to go back and watch every frame of high speed, because they did high speed photo video of every toss. Nice. So like, you know, that's a lot for somebody to go through.
It is.
When you're talking about like 600 frame a second video,
looking for wobble,
just looking if any wobble was introduced at any point during the flip.
Yeah,
I would not wish that job on anyone.
You know what though? It occurs to me that we correct for this bias. You know, because you do the coin flip, and then you do the final slap over. Right? Where you catch it and you slap it.
Slap. What happens during the slap?
the slap over. You catch it and you slap it.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's going to land. It's the opposite. You're always going to get the opposite. 51% of the time, it's right.
Sure. But the flip is a different action, right?
Yeah,
like the flip and the slap are two different actions. So you flip the coin, and the odds are the coin will land in your hand pre-slap. 51% it'll be on the same side that it was when you flipped it. Then the slap, like you're saying, so knowing that it's 51% likely to be what it started on, the savvy gambler,
yes,
would
always guess the opposite of what it started on, and I clearly can't drink the one in front of me.
That's right. This is science, Jeffrey.
This is beautiful science that, thank God, someone is rewarding with a very hallowed prize.
It truly is. I mean, the thing is, all of this stuff, minus maybe the coin flip, all of this stuff is sort of looking into larger connections. Like, it's funny, but it's looking into larger connections that are helpful, or just certain things that we want to know. I mean, even things like the hair whirl thing is trying to look into what small traits are hereditary versus non-hereditary. What's natural versus hereditary? What can be linked to hereditary genetics, and how? Right? The smallest things can be connected to huge genetic problems or issues. I remember there was somebody a few weeks ago on Reddit who posted a picture of themselves in their hands, and there was something going on, I believe, with like either their fingernail or their finger, where people looked at it and they were like, hey, go to a doctor. That's a sign of something.
Right.
You know, just these little signs in your genetics that can be like, hey, it's not 100% likely to be this, but if we can find little connections, who knows what's connected to what, you know?
Well, that's one of the positives about, the AI revolution that we're going through now, is that this ability to deal with extremely large data sets and find commonalities that human beings would have a hard time seeing and noticing.
Like how you should eat a rock every day.
Exactly. You definitely, Google told me to, so I have been. Yeah. But weirdly, my hair is still swirling the same direction. So I don't know.
Yeah, but for reading and finding patterns and things, like that's what computers are for.
Right.
You know, that's what computers have always been for. And by giving computers better tools to look at these things, right? Like when you talk about the coin flip and how it's like, man, like analyzing every single thing, you could train a computer with machine learning to look for some sort of wobble.
Absolutely.
And then have a human come in and verify the wobble. And so the human only has to look at like 250,000 coin flips.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What are you complaining about, researchers?
But even things like, but there's also stuff like the AI is interesting, but also somebody like Saul Newman who was like, okay, the data does say this.
Right.
The data does say that these blue zones exist.
What are we not looking at?
Yeah. What are we not looking at? What is the missing piece of the data?
Yeah.
And this is, I think out of all of them, if the work that Dr. Newman did proves to be true, right? And proves to be like, buddy, that's going to debunk 20 years of scientific research and pop culture.
Yeah.
Right. And that's going to be a hard thing. Like, this is one of those things that's going to be hard to shake out of the zeitgeist.
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yes. You can't uncrack that egg.
No,
you know what I mean?
You shouldn't be eating eggs. They're not part of the Mediterranean diet.
Nobody in the blue zone eats eggs.
Yeah, no, eggs. Ugh. Yeah, that's the thing is like, some of this stuff is very groundbreaking. And some of this stuff, the fact that he is winning an Ig Nobel Prize because nobody will publish him for this.
Yeah.
Because it'll make people look silly.
Right.
And we think about the whole idea of science as like, no, this is what it's supposed to be. This is what research is. It's okay that for 20 years we thought this because that's the data we had.
Yeah.
Though it is kind of funny that like we didn't really, I guess we didn't ask a lot of these centenarians for ID.
They looked so old, Anthony.
They were just so leathery and their skin was paper thin, and it made me sad to talk to them. And so when they said they were 100, I said, at least.
Man, that at least.
I was like, yeah, I buy it, Grandma.
You know what? I'm writing down 110.
Yeah, you earned it. I mean, the other thing that I think is funny about the blue zone centenarian or centenarian research is the idea that whenever you ask somebody who's 100 years old, like in America, somebody who's verifiably 90 something years old or 100 years old, they're like, well, I was drunk all the time and I ate nothing but bacon all day. And you're just like, I am trying to find anything I can use here.
I worked in a coal mine for 40 years.
I cough a thick black dust. And I think, so what do you think the secret is, Grandma? I think God hates me.
He doesn't want me.
I think I'm God's most hated child. And I fear that it is something that I have done to you or your mother. And there is no way that he will allow me to leave this earth.
So not the hummus.
Not the hummus. No, I don't know what hummus is.
No, we ate the hummus because we were extremely poor.
Oh, that's that that foreign food that the dirt people eat. That's what an American centenarian sounds like.
That is true.
That is what an American centenarian sounds like. And then you hear like, in Japan, it's like, oh, well, I garden and I work and I sit and I whittle. And it's like, yeah, okay. That must be it. It's like, no, man, we need to talk to the person who's literally smoking, like, isn't even taking the Lucky Strikes out of the carton. Literally slices one end of the carton open and then lights the other end of the carton on fire with the plastic still on it and smokes literally 12 packs a day that way.
What do you ascribe your longevity? You're 110 years old living in America. How do you explain your longevity? Well, I was allowed to openly say the N-word for much of my life.
That can't be it. That is not it, Grandma. Again, that can't be it. Why do you think you've lived so long? Oh, I owe a lot of corporations money and they won't let me die until I work it off. Oh, yeah. So
I just don't think that what I'm saying is I don't think the centenarians have the answers themselves.
No. They certainly do not. And I do love that because the academic community is slow to accept this work. The Ig Nobel Prize committee was like, you have a place here. Like you have it. Like, I think that's very like, because it's funny, haha. And it's also funny. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yes.
And I love that they brought it in. They're like, we will recognize you. And we know that this is silly, but
it's so good. And it really does, I think, show the kinds of biases that we can all have without even knowing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh, did you think about the record keeping part?
I honestly, Jeff, I got to tell you, I personally never thought to ask if the scientists checked the IDs of the people they were interviewing. I thought that would have been like very obvious.
Yeah. You'd think.
I thought that would have been like, and of course the first thing they did was they looked at the birth certificates, and I guess no.
They looked so old.
They looked so old. And when they
told stories and rambled.
And when they said, oh no, in my day, we didn't have birth certificates. We didn't check into that either.
That seemed like they were real old.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
that like just added to my belief that they were super old.
Yeah, that's one more point of data that we can say, yes.
That's right. This person predates birth certificates.
Oh man. Did we get dunked on? Did we get goofed on? Did science get goofed on? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Well, there you go. The Ig Nobel Prizes, everybody. Those are just some highlights. There are, of course, more. And if you want, you can watch the entire 2-hour Ig Nobel Prize award ceremony. They do keep it up on YouTube, and I always think it's fun, and it's always kind of interesting to see what kind of like silly but useful research people are doing. I think silly science is the best science.
It definitely is worth highlighting, and you got to love people that are dedicating their life to stuff like this.
Yeah,
bravo, Ig Nobel Prize. Glad you're still going.
Do you know who else dedicates their lives to silly science, Jeff?
You and me.
Yeah. I mean, at least an hour of our lives every week.
That's right.
I mean, we got other things to do. I mean, Jeff's got kids.
Sure. Yeah.
Jeff's got kids. I've got 10-hour coin flipping YouTube videos that I got to watch to keep myself sane. But if you'd like to help us continue spending at least an hour a week looking into silly science, a great way to do it is to head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
It doesn't take much. You can support this show, make sure it keeps going for as little as $1 a month, $12 a year. That's so low, and you still get something cool for that. You get access to the Discord, which is where we pluck many stories like the ones featured on this show, and also other cool conversations are happening. Just $1 a month gets you access to that Discord. But if you have more scratch to send our way, if you're able to support the show in a higher amount, there's even cooler stuff, right, Anthony?
That's right. You get cold opens, bonus episodes, videos, and so much more. You can check it all out at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.